Hi guys, Erica here. Welcome back to my channel, Abiding in Him Daily. Today I have a wonderful recipe for you that is my own, one that I have modified to adapt to Trim Healthy Mama. It is my chicken salad. So I'm so excited to be sharing it with you today. It is one that is definitely for the drive-through Sues because I took a shortcut. You know I can do that from time to time. However, if you want to make it from scratch, when you make your chicken, prior to putting it in the crock pot, you just don't want to cook it all the way. You'll see more what I'm alluding to once we get into the video, but I just wanted to point that out ahead of time. So I do hope you guys really enjoy this and stay tuned for the video. Thank you so much for watching. Bye. Okay guys, so here you can see what my little shortcut is for my drive-through Sues. I do start with 2 pounds of grilled chicken breast, and it was frozen, and this particular brand was Kirkwood from Aldi, but you could use any brand you like, or you can always start with fresh chicken breast and cook it partially and then add it to the crock pot. I did add sea salt, rosemary, cayenne pepper for a little kick, black pepper, and onion powder to start. I did add that to the crock pot that you see here with my chicken in it. And so these seasonings I did not really measure, but just making sure that my chicken here will be completely infused with the flavors. Now I added water to just slightly cover the chicken breast and so that they can begin to simmer in the juices. However, it is good if you start off with some form of chicken stock. It just adds just a little bit more flavor. So you can see me kind of just stirring it in here, breaking up the frozen parts so that I can make sure all of the chicken is covered. However, once it has begun to simmer here for a little bit on low, this will all become very incorporated and just very, very flavorful. This is a very important part of making the ideal chicken salad so that it's flavored. And then we did put our crock pot on low. I let this simmer between 1 and 3 hours, so I did cover that. And this is how it starts to look after it starts to simmer. You can see the herbs and spices being infused into that liquid. You'll see later where I decided it was not enough chicken, so I did add another pound. But you can kind of see here in this clip just how the flavors are starting to begin to get infused into that water. And that's what's going to give us our chicken salad that punch, that kick. And by all means, anytime you want to add more flavor, if it's not flavorful enough or if it's not salty enough, you can do some more seasoning on the back end, in which I'll show you at the end of the recipe. So here, I'm just kind of stirring it up, making sure that everything is fully covered. Okay, so while that's simmering, we're going to cut up our vegetables. We have 3 stalks of celery, a medium onion, dill pickles, 2 cucumbers, and a bell pepper, a small bell pepper, in which I only used half, and I used half of my sweet onion. So I did take out some of the dill pickles, and this is about how many I chopped and put into the salad for the 3 pounds. Here I'm just chopping up the celery just to show you guys that we're going to begin to chop every one of those vegetables you just saw on my cutting board. I'm going to chop this pretty fine because I do not want anything very large when you take a bite of the chicken salad. You want your vegetables to be nice and crunchy, but you want them to be small and manageable. So I'm just showing you here the chopping process, but I will show you here in just a moment the size, the ideal size here on the side of the knife that I'm trying to achieve, and I'll keep chopping away until I get there. And that's about the size that we're looking for. So here are all my vegetables, including the pickles, all chopped, and I have placed them in a bowl. Now to my bowl, I will begin to add the flavor. So I'm starting with 4 packs of Truvia, which is that slight hint of sweet. It will cut out any bitterness. Next, for the olive oil mayonnaise, and this particular brand is Hellman's. I don't really measure, guys, so I do kind of eyeball it, but I started with about 1.5 cups. I do kind of take it based on consistency, so I make sure it's not runny or too much mayo. So right now I'm starting with just enough to cover the vegetables, and at the end I will add about 1.5 cups more for a total of about 3 cups of mayonnaise. So I'm just mixing well here, just beginning to mix it so I can find out how much more I will need or not need at all. So just mix everything up very good, and in a moment here we'll start to add our chicken to these vegetables because they've simmered for the appropriate amount of time. I did turn the crock pot off, let them begin to cool. So I'm heading over to the crock pot so you guys can see just how much darker the liquid has become and the way that the chicken looks. So I'm going to get a slotted spoon here and begin to add this chicken to this bowl. You can strain it if you want. The reason why I'm using a slotted spoon is because I like to reuse my broth that was created. So I will continue to spoon that in. You can further chop your chicken to be smaller if you like. We do like ours kind of chunky. That's a personal preference, and feel free to adjust yours based on how you like. In a minute here you'll see that I'm down to the end of putting all the chicken in, just starting to stir in the vegetables. This is where I can determine how much more mayo is needed. Once all the chicken is covered, you'll see if it's at the right consistency for your preference. I don't like soupy salad, so I like to keep the mayo as light as possible. Just continue to mix and stir. I'm just showing you my leftover broth. I will be reusing that, all those wonderful seasonings in there. So I am finishing up mixing this well. I have all of my chicken incorporated at this point. Now it's at the point where I want to add my final seasonings that I talked about earlier. So starting with Old Bay seasoning, which is wonderful for seafood, vegetables, and salads like this. I find it gives it a very good kick. So I'm going to put about 1/2 teaspoon of Old Bay. Just sprinkle that on top. Next, I'm going to add just a little bit more rosemary, and that's my grandfather's trick for chicken. I'll tell you, if you've never had it, it's wonderful, a wonderful spice to use with chicken. I love it. So put about another 1/2 teaspoon of that. Another pinch of sea salt, just to make sure that I have enough salt in my recipe, not bland but not salty. So I put about another 1/2 teaspoon of that here in the bowl. And then I'm going to add my little trick here. Back to my dill pickles, I'm just going to give it a splash of the pickle juice. Gives your recipe that nice little kick, and it's very, very good. And this is all unplanned for Trim Healthy Mama, taking out anything that would normally not be on plan. So I've adjusted my recipe quite nicely, I would think, by adding Truvia instead of sugar, no sweet relish, you know, like you normally would. And I'll tell you guys, this is so good like this. If you like, you can also at this time bring up the heat factor for that kick if you like by adding a little bit more cayenne. I did omit that step this time because the last time I made it was a little bit too spicy. So now I'm just doing a little bit of cleanup on the edges. I just can't stand a messy bowl. So just clean up a little bit, and now just kind of finish my stirring and incorporating it, all the ingredients together for a little bit of better presentation here. So now it is still kind of warm. It needs to then go in the refrigerator after I'm done mixing. However, you can eat it warm. To me, it tastes better after it has sat in the refrigerator for at least a couple hours. But we did test this at this stage, and it was wonderful. It was absolutely delicious. So I do hope that you all try this. I hope you like it. Here's a picture of me serving this for my son with a few chips and in a lettuce wrap. You can also put this with a low-carb tortilla. I do hope you guys try it, and thank you so much for watching. Guys, let me know if you decide to try this. Please leave me a comment below the video or come on over to Facebook and leave me a comment there. And please do share this video throughout social media if it was helpful to you. We want to share the love. Sharing is caring. Again, thank you so much for watching. Remember to rate, comment, and if you haven't already, please do subscribe. You all be blessed and have a wonderful day.